argue, especially if you're maybe a millennial or Gen Z, like that is how our parents parented, because that's how they were parented.
Yeah.
So it's very hardcore, have to, growth at all costs, whatever it takes, self-sacrificing. There's a calmer, more nurturing, warmer, empathetic way to go about, goals. If you were parented like that, or if you're used to that, and it's no one's fault other than just the society and systems you grew up in, there is a different way to do it, but it might feel unfamiliar to you.
Oh,
so
for
even
sure.
if you look to Mary as an example of like, oh, this is what this could look like, it's a really great way to reparent yourself and to learn new, more, what I think are a lot more nurturing ways of setting goals, healing, growth,
Yeah.
personal or professional development.
Taking notes. That's good. That's really good. I mean, I think it's, and for the guys out there, like, that's not to say like, oh, we can't do that because that's a feminine energy. Am I right? Like, no, we should take the good from that.
Everyone is both.
Right.
Everyone is both.
Exactly.
Feminine and masculine. I just hit my mic, but I have moments. I run a business. Like, I have to know the spreadsheets. I need to have a plan for everything. I
Yeah.
need clients to come in at certain times. Like, there is a masculine side to that, but there's also the trust. The clients are coming, the money is coming, the opportunities are coming. There's everything is a balance. Everything in nature is both, and it's when we get out of balance where we start to experience health problems, we start to feel burnt out, everything else.
Yeah.
Usually when that happens, something is unbalanced because of the society we live in, probably tending to be a little bit more on the masculine side, but it is supposed to be both. It doesn't matter if you're, a guy, girl, they, whatever. Everyone has masculine and feminine energy.
Sure.
It doesn't, just because you're a guy, you're not going to have.
Yeah. No, exactly.
It's
So
about
takeaways being
balance.
like, there's a lot to pull from that. So like, okay, as we go about our day, and in my experience, like every day is so different. One day I could feel so confident, so faithful, so trusting, and then the next day I wake up and it's like, who am I? I'm so different. I feel, low energy, anxiety's creeping in, I'm stressed. Like, how am I then gonna like get through this day? And like we were yesterday, I was on cloud 9, feeling good, and so like, I'm sure in some ways you could relate. Like, what actions are you taking to combat that?
Yeah.
And to have more faith.
We live in a highly, highly overstimulated society. We're constantly on our phones. We're constantly consuming content. Depending on what your work life is and what, even just hours in a day, you have a daughter, if you're someone, maybe you're dating, you're around a lot of different types of energy day in and day out. Doesn't matter what it is. We are perpetually overstimulated as a society.
Very much.
So the truth is, you're probably tired. You
Yeah.
probably need rest and like a real day off. One of the things that I try to do on the weekend especially, I write on a screen all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like my job, I do a lot of podcasts, I do a lot of Zoom calls, so I'm on a screen. Friday at 5 to Sunday, I do a couple self-care practices. One is called Book in a Weekend, where I read a book in a weekend.
Yeah, you're really good about that.
I'm
As long
good
as
about
I've
that.
known you.
I am a writer, but I try to stay away from screens. I try to stay away from doom scrolling, anything. Our bodies, if you think about just like the creation of technology, our bodies were not meant to consume 20 TikToks in an hour. Like that's so much information in such a short amount of time. Your nervous
Yeah.
system is completely fried.
Yeah.
It's not, you're just not meant to consume like that.
Well, when I'm trying to be better about it, but when I do, and in the few times I try to reflect and like, what did I just consume? I couldn't
don't
like,
remember
a single thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I feel so like I just wasted time.
Yeah.
But in the moment it's like, oh, I could justify it because I'm like, oh, that's so entertaining, that's so good.
Or
Don't get me wrong.
you think
Sometimes
you think you're decompressing.
Yeah, there's sometimes like, especially very much so now, like super deliberate about like who I'm following and what I'm consuming. So like it's very intentional, and if it's something that like really resonated, I'll literally stop it and write it down and then try to like reflect on it or pray on it or be it whatever. And that's where social media can be used for like in amazing ways, you know, done the right way though.
Yeah.
So like there's, it just,
I set times, like the thing that's challenging is because of the nature of my work.
yeah.
Like I do have to be on social media and consuming a bunch of
Yeah, it's your
content.
job.
It's part of it. I'm very strict about, okay, I set times in my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I'm commenting or engaging. This is when I'm checking my email. That's scheduled in.
Okay, so
And
you're
I try to
blocking
do
the
it.
time.
I block the time. On my weekends, I really try to stay away from screens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even, this is a new development. I have like randomly gotten really into opera.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Nice.
I don't know why. But before this week,
Uh-huh.
I didn't own a TV. I
Okay.
just am not watching TV. I'm reading pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
Something that's helpful, in front of my bed, I have a big wall. And so instead of staring at a blue light and a screen, because I want to watch operas, I got a projector.
Okay.
And I put it on the top of my headboard. I take it down when I'm done, but I project operas onto my bedroom wall.
Cool.
It's not a screen, so it's a little bit easier on the eyes. I wear blue light blockers just in case, but that even just the lack of stimuli, super helpful.
Interesting.
But I would say like in anything, and I'm a writer, so I'm definitely more prone to reading. I know some people don't have quite the attention span for that, but
Me.
I know. I wasn't going to say it, but
I did.
I know. We love, but the thing in anything, you can choose your art. You can choose however you're going to recharge, but
Yeah.
good inputs yield great outputs
Yeah.
is the thing I always think about. So for me, and especially because I write for a living, and
Mm-hmm.
for me to crank out content to the like level and caliber that I am, I read like 2 hours a day.
No, it's insane.
It's crazy. But the way I think of it is like a lot of people are on TikTok for 2 hours a day, or they're watching Bravo shows for 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
I just prefer to recharge that way. I'm an introvert, so I'm kind of in my own
Yeah.
headspace. Everyone kind of has their own thing, but I think finding recharging practices that feel restful and restorative to your nervous system are the most important thing. That could be, it probably needs to be at least one kind of movement. So that changes for me. Sometimes it looks like strength training, sometimes it looks like walks, sometimes it looks like pickleball. Like pick a movement thing. It doesn't have to be like an intellectual engagement, but I would say like an artistic thing.
Yep.
How can you connect into other people's stories? Is it movies? Is it TV? Is it, a book? Maybe it's a podcast, as long as it's not in your same, it doesn't feel like work. So
Right.
like maybe do something not related to your work life. Maybe it's opera. Like it could be so many different mediums, but I find that consuming art in particular, for me at least, and I'm definitely a more creative person, but there's a lot of those same stories. Like, we talked about, Mary and her story. That is the purpose of art. It's meant to like reflect what's going on in your life in a very soothing way without having you think, give me the data, give me the masculine, like what's gonna come out from it. It forces you to reflect
Yeah.
on what's coming up. And that's a slower process. It's not sexy. You have to sit with your feelings. That doesn't feel as fun.
Right.
But I would argue you'll feel and find more like yourself in the process. And that is what rest and restoration look like.
No, that's good. I mean, thank you for sharing that. That's rest and restoration. It's critical, and for all of us, there's no doubt about it. One of the many things I've always loved about our friendship, like you help me see things, like in a lot of friendships, see things just a little bit differently, because we all have our own beliefs and values and way that we were brought up, but like, there's so many other different viewpoints out there that, will only help us grow, and so you've helped me grow in a lot of ways, and that's another tangible way, thing that I can do, that I certainly struggle with, because it's constant, that more so probably the masculine energy of I got to go, I got to do, I got to achieve, it's not enough.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's just like doing more sometimes is actually worse.
Yeah.
You're
You
not
said
accomplishing.
something interesting here that is deeply rooted under the need to do more, have to do more. It's not enough. I'm not doing enough. There's not enough time. Enough.
Yeah.
And it's this belief that it's laced in scarcity and it's laced in lack. Who I am underneath everything, it's this belief like I couldn't be enough just doing what I need to do. You can still push toward the goal, but it's secretly under the radar, a secret way that our self-worth kind of sneaks in. If I don't, perform at this best, will my boss not recognize me? If I don't perform at this best, if I don't get this promotion, is everyone going to think I'm worthless, useless? Insert whatever. Everyone kind of has their own secret subconscious belief about like unworthiness and not being enough, and that is underneath and what the art is teaching, or whatever else, the reflection, the real inner work, not to spoil the ending for you, but the deep work of what's actually happening is, am I enough? Do I believe I'm enough to take the time that I need to heal and restore?
Yeah.
And that is the hardest thing to do, because we live in a world that says, no, you need to do more. The opposite of more is not enough. And that, I think, is if you can get to this place of understanding, even if it's uncomfortable, you don't need to do more. You need to do what's aligned for you.